The Labour government's recent decision to impose an inheritance tax on farms worth over PS1 million has sparked outrage among British farmers. Protests are intensifying, with many now rallying behind a petition demanding tax relief for working farms. The issue was brought to Westminster Hall for discussion, where MPs challenged Labour representatives on the policy's impact. However, instead of providing clear answers, the Labour MP dodged the questions and accused opponents of playing political games. This is exactly the kind of dismissive attitude that fuels frustration among hard-working farmers, who are already struggling with rising costs and economic uncertainty. If the government's goal is to target billionaire tax avoiders, why are small and medium-sized farms being hit the hardest? The reality is that this policy punishes those who have worked their entire lives to sustain British agriculture. Farmers won't back down, and this fight is far from over.
We take it that the government is trying to address the large tax avoiders, the Dysons and people with billionaires who are investing to avoid this, and who want to protect real farmers. It's perfectly possible for the HMRC to do so. Farmers are not on PAYE. They all make submissions every year on the amount of time and work and effort and money they make from farming. Wouldn't it be possible to give an unlimited exemption to people who are real farmers based on their HMRC submissions?
Thank the honourable gentleman for his intervention. There'll be something I'll be covering on in my speech later on.
I'm very grateful for the honourable member giving away, and listening is really important. And the things that I've heard from my farmers is they're either caught up between, is this a mistake or is this done on purpose? Did the government mistakenly realise it was going to bring all these family farmers into this inheritance tax and agricultural change? Or, worse still, was it planned all along and is a way of getting the land towards housing and some of the net zero targets? Either could be true. Does he have a preference over which one it is? Because I think farmers want to know, was it a mistake and should it be rectified? Or is this an ideal policy driven by the government?
With respect to the Honourable Gentleman, I'm just confused by his argument, because he's talking about the scope, which is the crux of this issue. What is the scope of this tax? Now, he voted in favour of not changing it. He was quoted in the Eastern Daily Press as saying that it would not hit proper farming families. Is that his position, that this tax doesn't hit, quotes, proper farming families, or should the scope of the tax be changed? Because that is the crux of the issue. And with respect to the argument he's set out, I don't know what his position is, other than he voted not to change it.
Try and bring his remarks soon to a close. Let others in, please. Thank you.
Just a quick reply to that. At the start of my speech, I said the problem has been this has been turned into a political football, and undermining the ability for us to actually, in clear-minded ways, speak about options and opportunities. And it's really sad that the fact that I can see a shadow minister on the opposite side, who I know worked very hard on this, and that I've been able to work with him cross-party, but at the same time, the Shadow Secretary of State does not want to work in a manner that could get the best outcome for our farmers, and that's very sad. Anyway,